Let me. So when we learn, understand that mindfulness is a non practice, it means it is all about knowledge. Tell me what to tell. Tell me, you ever forget your house, your car, your honey, your gender? That is what the knowledge lives 24 by 7. Is it not a fact? Is it not a truth? Then how dare you wake up in the morning and you feel that you are stressed? You talk to someone and you feel anxious. How dare you? We don't think in that way. So when we don't think, I have a lot of problems anyhow, let me do the practice of meditation. Just, I feel relax a little bit, not very deep. You are not a seeker. Are you seeing that? I don't want to go into the modern psychology. They will say you are manic, you are bipolar, you are anxious, you have ADD, you have ADD. Huh? You have TAT. So I created an abbreviation, tired all the time. Do you understand that clearly? Do you live into that awareness? Is the main question. What is that awareness? That I told you, simple thing. Do you ever forget your gender, your house, huh? Your age? No. That is what the knowledge is. That is what is awareness, and that is what is my experience. Then how dare you forget that you are worthy of suffering? You don't understand, I have been carrying the burden of the stress and suffering for so many years. And now you say me, you see, again the ignorance has creeped. How dare you for your mind? That is all about Saturday's session. Awareness, knowledge, and experience. When it is a non practice, simply means it is knowledge, it is awareness. Now, I will keep that awareness in a box and will lock it, and then I have a stress. You see the level of ignorance. This is what the masters are pointing out. Are you getting it? Say yes. I'm getting it. But what I will do with the stress? Again, you went back. What I will do with my honey makes me crazy. Again. No, no, no. My doctor told me that I have been having a problem with my mind for so many years. Again, you have gone back. And that is why our master says we have to be a seeker. We have to be a seeker. Only the highest level of a seeker, you wake up in the morning and you remember, oh, yes. Ah, yes, but I have a physical challenges. Yes, it's okay. But do you remember I'm not the body? Think. This is what is mindfulness 24 by 7. This is what is. Huh? Say, for example, you have lot of pain in the body. Do you ever forget your gender? Sometime I forget, then you are crazy. So, is real self behind the world of name and the form? That is what we learned on Mondays and Thursdays session a few weeks ago. Behind the name and the form, known as the physical body, is matter. Do you remember the cause of the food that we eat? Is the earth. Cause of the earth is water. Cause of the water is fire. Cause of the air is cause of the water is air, fire. Cause of the fire is air. Then space. Who perceives the space? The mind. And the cause of the ego. After the space, I find my individuality, that I'm an individual with reference to the body, and then this ego covers the real self, and I'm gone. How the ego covers the real self? I have a lot of pain, I will meditate later. Who has the pain? I can tell you, you just become aware, know it, you experience that you are different from the body. With that knowledge, is gone. So, what is the world? Time, place, objects. Remember, our greatest master says time, place, and objects. Time, behind past, present, and future, there is one continuity of the time. It is not difficult to understand. Can you break the time in past, present, and future? It is for our convenience that we have to attend Saturday's session. But the time continues, the place continues, and behind the objects and the people, objects and people means the world of name and the form. Something that brings the continuity of something, that existence behind the name, and name and the form will change. Maybe after a few years, 10, 15, 20, I'm 63. So if we say average lifespan of this body, maybe another 10, 20 years. Name and the form is gone, but I am not gone. While you settled into that awareness and knowledge, nothing disturbs you. Nothing. So the power of discernment is constantly working 24/7. You enter into a non-practice mindfulness, effortless in nature. You see that the world is constantly changing, but I am not changing. Change in the name and the form. So when you maintain that awareness or the knowledge or your experience, your personal conscious experience, what we realize, this world exists only due to the name and the form. Tell me about the world, you remove the name and the form. And they are constantly changing. They are changing in time, they are changing in space, they are changing because inner honey, that intellect, where the ego takes the birth, and that ego associates it with the physical body, the subtle body, and the causal body, and then we have a problem. in the time of the Buddha, a couple of the masters said that this world exists. Buddha says the world exists in thought. Only thought. But it doesn't mean that you simply get the information. I have to contemplate and reflect. What is this? This is a wall. Wall is a word and it is a thought. So, but if I don't use the word, does the wall exist? Think, contemplate, and reflect. No, I've been thinking a lot about my stress and anxiety. Doctor diagnosed me. He told me to take the pills. Take all those things. So the master gives a new perspective, a new way of thinking, so that the thoughts that created a suffering by another way of thinking, we remove the stress. The Buddha directly said, if the thought do not exist in the mind, this world does not exist. Think of this. Who are you? Brandy is a thought. But if thought is not there, the world outside does not exist. And when the world does not exist, there's physical, subtle, mental, subtle, and the causal body that do not exist. And then we experience that state of mindfulness. Some people say it is a choiceless awareness. Yes, it is the same thing. Some people say it is a state of being. Yes, it is a state of being. Can you confine the state of being to a particular name and the form? Answer is no. You are free. It's a non-practice. I'm not teaching anything out of context. It is all about, it's all written and teachings are passed on to us. What is real self? That is why we say, we give it a word. So that is why we say the real self is absolute existence, consciousness, bliss. 3 words are one. Absolute existence extends to consciousness, consciousness extends to permanent happiness, but otherwise it is one and the same thing. And that is what is pure consciousness. We are trapped by the ignorant consciousness, if I say so. So in order to get rid of that, I must keep in mind, I must keep in mind, I live in that awareness, or I live consciously with 4 or 5 traits of pure consciousness. That is real self. How many of you are thinking that, okay, that real self is inside me? No, you are real self. Are you getting it? Did you get it? Okay, I have to find my real self. No, you are real self. I'm real self, yes. I and real self, there is no distance in time. There is no difference. Who creates the difference? Our inner honey. In the mind, in the thought, in the feeling. And then we are trapped. We fall into ignorance. Here and now, I am real self. I don't see that. Again, ego. So that is why the master says, first trait of the pure consciousness is not a part of the thought. Consciousness is not a part of the thought, not a property of the thought, not the product of a thought. Now find the consciousness. So it means, mind, you have started thinking, stop this. I'm just aware. Oh, this is a thought, but now that thought takes me to a state of thoughtlessness here and now. Just now. What about pain? You're gone. You lost that. Pain pertains to the physical, and I'm not the physical body. I have already made it clear. Consciousness is not a part, property, product of a thought. Your mind cannot think. And if real self is a product of a thought, then real self is inert like any matter. I think of a mouse. Here is a mouse, name and the form. Here is a house, name and the form. Here is a computer, name and the form. Are you getting it? Name and the form. If the real self is the product of a thought, then real self is inert like matter. No need to discover. No need to continue the journey. We need that extraordinary awareness. And to enter into that extraordinary awareness, Master says, I have to be the highest level of a seeker. The consciousness is not the part of a thought. Clear. Consciousness is not a property of the thought. Consciousness is not a product of the thought. Then consciousness is different from the thought. Consciousness is not limited by thought. I have a pain, I have limited. See, limitation comes by thinking. That's why we say thoughtlessness. That's why we use different phrases. It's the same thing, thoughtlessness. So it means consciousness pervades thought and independent of the thought. When associated, creates an experience. Did I complete the sentence? Consciousness pervades, or you can say permeates every thought. Go back to the same thing. Permeates every thought. Means what? I'm in stress. The consciousness is present in that thought, which is different. So when you say I'm in pain, you have associated yourself with the physical body. That's why you are referring that I have a yeah, Ashok has take drank water. Now you can easily understand. Now we should move ahead. So when we live into that extraordinary awareness, being the highest level of a seeker, I am able to separate the thoughts entering into my mind, leaving my mind, and I find there is a consciousness which is independent of the thought. When it is associated creates an experience. Thought in the mind is matter. Thought cannot have a nature of consciousness. If we are independent of thought, we are free, but we get involved. We get engaged. As we are the mind, we are the thoughts, and we are the false I. That is the journey of mindfulness meditation. Understand in a different way. The mouse thought cannot give knowledge of the mouse unless it is associated with consciousness. Are you clear? See, yes, even if you're not, So, because if you think again and again, you'll clear. The mouse thought cannot give knowledge of the mouse unless it is associated with consciousness. Means consciousness is knowledge. Here is Sam. This is a thought. So Sam thought cannot give knowledge of Sam unless it is associated with consciousness. Sam thought pervades the consciousness, creates a perception and experience of Sam that Sam is attending my session. So again, when we understand if the consciousness is a part of the thought, thought is inert, so consciousness is also inert, it does not work. Anything inert, anything inert, do not have a property to know others. I know mouse, mouse does not know me. Science says, science are in confusion. They pick up, they say that seat of the consciousness is the center of the brain. Some people, some scientists say that consciousness is the seat of the consciousness is, I think, hypothalamus. They use the word, and sometimes they pick up other parts of the brain. Conscious. They have reduced the consciousness as a function of the brain. No, Eastern wisdom says no. It is our daily experience. You are in, we are in coma. Consciousness is present, but it does not have a right instrument to manifest itself. Brain is matter. But science says matter produces consciousness. Not possible. How simple example. I know mouse is here, and I know the mouse is not here. The presence and absence of the matter, the mouse, does not change the state of my consciousness. It is the same consciousness that tells me the presence and absence of consciousness. Did you get it? So when we live into that extraordinary awareness all the time, we are already in the state of mindfulness. But if you say that I'm living in the state of mindfulness, I have a lot of pain. Then your ego is manipulating you. You are not in there. You are not there. Any object in the world has a name and a form. It has a location, it has a time, it is an object. You see the sunlight. Sunlight is pervading everywhere. But my computer, my monitor has a location, the mouse has a location, this body has a location, time. Consciousness, sunlight does not have a location. Same thing, consciousness has no location at all, it is all pervading. Do you see that? Give an example of sunlight. It is all pervading. So I am here also and I'm here also. I am there also. So when I say Jerry, I'm there also. David, I'm there also. Brandy, I'm there also. That is mindfulness 24/7. Thoughts are there, consciousness is there. No thought is there, consciousness is. Remove all the articles from this room, sunlight is still there. Bring all the articles, sunlight is still there. Same way, consciousness is. This body exists, consciousness is. Body does not exist, consciousness is. Means the real self is. I return to few of the sessions so that we can start with the 6th chapter with that metaphor clearly. I realize that I'm not able to express it correctly. Conscious is not available for transaction if thought is not there. Last point. Understand this point very clearly. Why? Did I say consciousness is not available for transaction if mind is not there or thought is not there? You can say anything. First, then tell me, real self, according to teachings of our Eastern wisdom, the real self is complete, permanent peace and happiness. Does it need any transaction? It does not need. Mind needs transaction, thought needs transaction. So that's why consciousness is not available for transaction. It is complete in itself. You live into that state of mindfulness because you are real self, because you are pure consciousness. See that? We are in coma, consciousness is enjoying itself. It does not need anything for transaction. We are in deep sleep, so-called. We are. Consciousness is complete in itself. It doesn't need. So the mind is absent. That's why we do not recognize if the thoughts are there or not. So if the thought is not there, it does not mean the consciousness is not there. If we are in deep sleep, it does not mean the consciousness is not there. We are crazy, it does not mean the consciousness is not there. We are happy, doesn't mean the consciousness is not there, because we identify, we claim we are crazy, hence the consciousness hides itself because it is complete in itself, but it has nothing to do. So we have a dual personality. I'm crazy and now I'm happy. Do you see that? I wanted to explain that metaphor from the next week, so I thought better to contemplate and reflect this week. Consciousness is not the product, property of a thought. So, I remember one Upanishad. Upanishads, I told you, are the main revealed text. Normally, when we start studying these Upanishads, we find there is no connection because they are the revealed text. So that's why the master organized these principles into a different text. That is what we are studying in a systematic manner. So in that Upanishad, in one of the Upanishad, it says, it is not the water, but it is in the water. It is not the air, but it is in the air. It is in the brandy, but not the brandy. It is in the anesthesia. It is not that. It is in the same, but not the same. It is in the house. It is not the house. It is in the mouse. It is not the mouse. A pointer is so clear. It is in the thought, but not the thought. So thought says I'm stressed. It is not the thought. I'm not the thought. It is in the stress, but not the stress. Do you understand? It is in the pain, not the pain. And that is how this consciousness is all pervading. Mindfulness 24/7. Check every moment in your life. Every moment in your life. You're with a person in relationship. Is the mind playing with you or you are playing with it? You don't have money in your bank account. Is the mind playing with you or you are playing with it? That's the only difference. Do you compare, oh, he or she is more beautiful or smarter than me? Consciousness is the same. So what happens that real self comes in front, uses the brain, the mind, the intellect, and the body and the thought to live in this world in peace, happiness, love, and wisdom. That is all about it. Not a big deal. Close your eyes.